Good morning. Decades after the ends of apartheid, many of Gauteng's hostels remain overcrowded, unsafe and unfit for people to live in. There have been repeated government promises to transform these structures into proper family accommodation, but instead, thousands still live in squalor. The Gauteng's Human Settlements Department in the province is expected to visit several hostels in the inner city. Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali is live outside the Jeppe Hostel in Joburg. Veronica, good morning. You've shown us what's been happening at the George Goch Hostel. What's the situation at the Jeppe Hostel this morning?
Well, Stephen, when we talk about Gauteng hostels, one honestly has to think about the ones in the city of Johannesburg, specifically speaking about Denver Hostel and Jeppe. We are here outside the hostel where we've had an opportunity just to not only look at the revitalization project, but get a real sense of how residents in this community have been living. We know that Jeppe specifically has been historical for its overcrowding, criminal activity, neglect, and of course, collectively, the hostels in Johannesburg seeing that poor maintenance and that stalled redevelopment, and of course, failed promises as well of revitalization. But today, a word from both the provincial and the metro speaking about the fact that this is something that they are now prioritizing, given the fact that the population in Johannesburg continues to grow, and of course, the housing crisis as well is unabating. I am joined, of course, by the MMC for Human Settlements, Mlungisi, Mabaso. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start first and foremost about why it has taken so long to prioritize such a crucial project, especially when it comes to the dignity of residents.
Yeah, well, I think you will have an appreciation that some 12, 15 years ago, there were redevelopment processes that were initiated by the provincial government at that particular time, and it got halted because the product that was offered to the residents did not consider the social and economic circumstances of the residents, since we did not witness allocation in some of the projects like your Dube, your Diepkloof and your Meadowlands hostels. And over the time, we've been trying to engage with the government to say, can we have a dedicated policy that will talk to the redevelopment of the hostel? And that's why this year earlier, I convened a meeting of all the hostel leaders together with the MEC, where we engaged on the redevelopment strategy that will be taking to council as the city of Johannesburg, because we need a dedicated strategy that is going to talk to how we are going to approach the redevelopment of the hostel in its entirety, so that we deal with the overcrowding in the hostel, but also deal with these old structures, that is not accommodative to those that have families now within the hostels.
Yeah. And of course, to do such a mammoth task requires a lot of money. We understand that the city has earmarked about 10 billion rand into this revitalization project. Where will that budget come from?
Yeah, well, if you zoom closer into our strategy, the process will look more on how we can attract the private investment as well, because the hostels are strategically located in prime lands, so the public-private partnership will be explored, and part of the things that we are saying in the strategy is that we'll have to get master developers, will engage with financial institutions so that they are able to assist us, because when we did our assessment, the projections, were between 8 to 10 billion that is required for us to redevelop the hostels in Johannesburg. So we will not have that kind of money at our coffers, and hence we said part of the work that we'll be doing will be attracting the private investment. I mean, with all our mega developments, we've partners with the private sector. The South Hills, not far from where we are currently, Standard Bank was appointed as our master developer. They are assisting us to bridge finance, but we are delivering subsidized units there. So it's something that have been piloted, it's something that has been done in the city of Johannesburg, and we have seen the results of that, where our most marginalized residents have been able to be accommodated into those particular projects. So those are the kinds of strategies that we'll be exploring, so that we are able to attract more investment in the redevelopment of hostels.
MMC, I have to say, being in the city of Johannesburg, and not just the hostels, which of course we can appreciate that there is an effort to redevelop develop them. It's an eyesore in regards to the number of informal settlements that are mushrooming across the city. What does this do in terms of speaking to the bigger issue that the city of Johannesburg is facing right now? Overpopulation, overcrowding, and people really just finding any place to put homes and houses.
Yeah, well, I think it's a law enforcement issue, and we have engaged with our law enforcement agencies on how we can best deal with issues of informality, the issues of invasions, because some of the invasions are not just normal invasions. People are illegal selling these stands to the residents, and some of the areas are not even suitable for human settlements, but people have settled, and it's out of desperation to some, and others it's criminal element that we must also deal with. Well, I engaged with the mayor last week, and I had requested formally to the executive mayor that he should arrange a meeting with the provincial commissioner, the head of folks in the province, so that we are able to deal with those that are illegally selling the stands to our residents. But also there are programs that we have introduced which are meant to mitigate and address the informality in Johannesburg. We have appointed consultants. Even yesterday I was introducing one at Slovo informal settlements. There are 67 informal settlements in our business plan for this current financial year, where we are looking at formalizing and upgrading those particular informal settlements. But there are mega projects as well. We've launched Southern Farms in the previous financial year, which will deliver 43,000 housing opportunities. We are finalizing development agreements with Grand Central, where we will deliver more than 83,000 housing opportunities. So all those programs that we are introducing in Johannesburg is because we want to deal with the housing backlog, we want to deal with informality. And as I've alluded, that the hostel redevelopment strategy is on its way to council, so that at least we are able to have a clear approach and a direction in terms of how we are going to deal with the development of hostels. So all those programs we have introduced because we want to deal with the housing backlog in Johannesburg, we want to deal with informality in Johannesburg, so that at least everyone within our constituencies can be accommodated in the programs that we are initiating in Johannesburg.
All right, well, thank you for your time, MMC. That, of course, was the MMC for Human Settlements in the city of Johannesburg, Mlungisi Mabaso, speaking about many projects that are in the pipeline, promises to change what we are seeing in the city of Johannesburg. But I can tell you, Stephen, that just outside the walls of Jeppe Hostel is just another, form of another housing crisis in terms of just some of those mushrooming shacks where people have really taken advantage of the lack of, as you heard from the MMC himself, lack of law enforcement, and have opened up and taken over and invaded certain spaces. But that's not just also what the city has to deal with, also the issue of abandoned buildings as well. So truly the housing crisis is not just that there isn't enough housing, it's also that the housing exists, that does exist rather, is, dilapidating. Back to you, Stephen.